laugh, to win, and to live the thrill of the action.
Hey, baby, let's go out there like a bunch of crazy dogs. What the hell's going on out here?
No idea what's going on, but I am excited.
Every pick, every play, every game-changing moment.
Unbelievable!
This is You Better You Bet, brought to you by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports.
Welcome into the show. My name is Carrington Harrison. Very happy to be here with you guys, getting you ready for an exciting week in sports. We certainly have a lot to get into in today's show. The World Cup has ended around America. We'll get to that coming up in just a bit, where we're going to talk about the game between Argentina and Spain. There's a handful of teams that are going to get going in the NFL training camp circuit. We'll talk a little football today as well. Maybe you missed it, but last week ESPN released their top 10 quarterbacks in the National Football League. LeBron is still waiting to make a decision. I'm not sure if LeBron is ever going to make a decision. LeBron could wait until Halloween to decide what team he is going to play for. We'll talk about that. We'll go through some quarterback scenarios. We'll talk a little bit of baseball. We'll have some fun today on You Bet or You Bet. You Better You Bet. So this is how I would like to start today's show. My name is Carrington Harrison, filling in for my guy, Nick Kostos. Let's start with the World Cup. Yesterday, we had a riveting game of 1-0 between Spain and Argentina. Spain scores in the second half of extra time, and they advance to win the World Cup. But let's start here, because I think there were some pretty important messages that were learned. I think there were some pretty important messages that were gained through all of this. Let's start with here. I think America is really, really interested in big-time events. I don't really know if America is too interested in the sports games anymore that aren't football. But if you were talking about sporting events, the Masters is one of those. The U.S. Open, Wimbledon, the Indianapolis 500, the Kentucky Derby. These are sporting events. If we are talking about sporting events, I think America has shown you time and time again that's something that we can rally around. Maybe soccer's not your thing, but over the course of the last 6 weeks, it was on television. Maybe you live in one of the host cities. It was on all the time. It was in America, and you decided, you know what? Let me get into it. That's kind of how I was. Not a big soccer fan. Don't really plan on watching too much more soccer here over the next 4 years. But international soccer, when you know that it's being played at the absolute highest stakes, when you know that both teams are fighting for something, when you know the crowds are into it, when you know the pageantry of all of it, that's something you can sign me up for. I think most of you are like me when it comes to this. If you're telling me that the best are going to compete at something, I'll watch it. I don't know how to play poker, but if you tell me that the best poker players in the world are going to meet up at the Bellagio and they're going to play poker, you can get me interested in that. If you're going to tell me that the best competitive championship eaters are going to be eating hot dogs, y'all give that 10 minutes of my time. If you're going to tell me that the best spellers in the world are going to meet up and they're going to spell words that I have no ability to pronounce, you can get me signed up for that. And I think a lot of you, a lot of Americans are the exact same way. That I think we really embraced this World Cup. I think we had a lot of fun with the World Cup. And it was a really exciting, enjoyable performance. If there's one thing we do understand, it's star culture. We've had our stars, whether it's in the Olympics and it's Michael Phelps, whether it's a Simone Biles, whether it's in basketball or football or baseball or whatever it is. We gravitate towards the stars. That is exactly what this tournament had. This tournament had star power. This tournament had Erling Haaland. It had Lionel Messi. It had Cristiano Ronaldo. It had so many of the great soccer players, and they were all playing championship-level soccer at one time. Look at the guys who were in contention for the Golden Boot. I mean, these are the guys that would be talked about being on the cover of the next FIFA video game. That's what you wanted. It was a big-time major sporting event happening in our country, and the star players that you had heard about, even if you're not the biggest of soccer fans, those guys were playing soccer at incredibly high levels, and we got a very, very exciting tournament. So I think the first part of this is, look, you guys put on a great product. Fox did a fantastic job. Fox Sports 1 did a great job. The broadcast, the telecast, all of it was phenomenal. All of it was A+, and you saw that America tuned in big numbers. I think whenever we get the ratings here, whether it's in a day, whether it's in a day and a half, we will see that a lot of people watch that World Cup final. If there's one thing we're used to, it's championship level soccer, championship level football on a Sunday. And people are going to, you'll see, have tuned in at really, really big numbers. Now, let's talk about the United States portion of this thing, because we ain't having too many more conversation about the United States soccer team and soccer program between now and whenever they'll qualify for the next World Cup. I don't think we as a society want it bad enough. And I think that's okay. I was listening to a podcast actually on the way in today, and they were talking about how basketball is the sport of the streets. Football is the sport of the streets in America. We were the kids that set up the basketball goal outside, and you were playing basketball and you had to wait for the car to go through. Or we've all been out in the yard, in the driveway, throwing the football around. Maybe you and your friends decided to play a little stick ball or something like that. Like, these are the sports that most American kids have grown up with and played in the streets. It's not really how soccer is. Soccer's not really ingrained in our culture in that way. Look at it through this lens. If you notice that your nephew is going to be really tall, what direction do you push him in? You tell him to go play basketball. If you notice that your niece is going to be a 6'2" young lady, you're telling her to go play volleyball. We as a society push our young athletes in a certain direction. If you notice that your son's going to be 6'4", 225, you're telling your kid that he needs to go play football or basketball. So some of this is, I think we have to ask ourselves as a country, do we want to dilute our top sports and the sports that we ultimately care about and want to be the best in and take pride in being the best in? Do we want to dilute those so we can be a little bit better at a sport that ultimately we don't really care that much about? Because we want to be the best in basketball. It was invented in the United States. We want to be the best in football. It's our sport. No other country plays football the way that we play football. We take pride in baseball. We take pride in certain Olympic sports. We want to be really good at those things. I don't think we want it bad enough in soccer, and I think that's okay. Think about football culture that exists in this country. Think about football culture that exists especially in the South. We have written books. We have made movies. We have made television shows off American cities' love for football. It is a rite of passage in the South. People write country songs about playing football. It's a different beast. And I don't see you changing those highlights or changing the way that we are culturally set up when it comes to that sport. Soccer's nice. Soccer's fun. We view soccer as something cool to put little kids in when they're coming up. When your kid is 4, 5, 6, and you're trying to get them into a sport, and you want them to get out there, run, listen to the coach, learn to get along with other teammates. You know what sport you put them in? You put them in soccer. And then ultimately that kid grows up and he becomes 11, 12 years old. And then he looks at you and says, I want to go play these other sports. I want to go play basketball. I want to go play football. I want to go play baseball. I want to learn how to play golf. I just want to do something else. So I think the first conversation as the World Cup is ending, and ultimately we're going to ask well, what's next? What's next for the U.S. men's national team? The answer to me is very, very simple. Nothing is next for the U.S. men's national team because we don't want it bad enough. Our identity is tied up into being really good in football. Our identity is tied up into being really, really good in basketball. Our identity is not tied up in being good at soccer. We like soccer the way that it is. You know how soccer is in this country? Soccer in this country is like if you're a football team at a basketball school. Now, I've never been to Duke before, but I'm guessing they don't really care if their football team wins the national championship. You want to know why? Because they're a basketball school. Can we win 7, 8 games, maybe 9 games? Can we beat North Carolina? Can we make a bowl game? Can we be fun? Can we enjoyable? Can we get us to November so we can start playing the sport that we really care about? The greatest purpose of this World Cup was to get us through these dog days of summer, so we're not talking about the Major League Baseball trade deadline. And now, look up, we're here. Training camp is here. We're less than a month away from NFL preseason games. We're less than 3 weeks away from the start of NFL Hard Knocks. The World Cup served its purpose in our life, and that's okay. We have these conversations every 4 years about how soccer is going to grow and what's next for soccer. I think soccer has established itself as a very popular niche sport. It's a very popular niche sport. If you love soccer, you are really, really into it. And you wake up and you watch the EPL and you know the stars and maybe you have a favorite club overseas and all of that is great. But I want you to keep this very important thing in mind. Every other sport that we like and follow, the best version of it is here in the United States. If you're into basketball, the best version of basketball is here in America. And people from around the world know if you want to prove yourself as a top basketball player, eventually you got to come to America. You cannot be one of the greatest basketball players in the world if you don't prove it in America. If you want to play baseball and you're Shohei or you're Ichiro or you're Hideo Nomo, eventually, I don't care how much success you have in Japan, how much success you have overseas, you have to come to America to prove how good you are in this sport. It is impossible for you to be the best if you don't come to America to prove it. We can go down the list. Soccer is the only one you never need to come to America. You do not need to prove that you are the best soccer player if you are Erling Haaland because you went to go play for the New York Red Bulls or because you went to go play for the Houston Dynamo or the LA Galaxy. You don't need to do any of those things. So as long as that continues to be the case, as long as that continues to be the structure that we have, then this is where we are. And I would say also, conversely, if you know that you want to be a top flight soccer player, eventually you have to leave the United States. You cannot be the level of a Lionel Messi or Lamine Yamal or Kylian Mbappe. You cannot do that if you're a kid that's born in North Carolina and you want to stay in North Carolina for your whole life. Eventually, you got to move to England. You got to move to France. You got to move to one of these countries. I hear a lot of conversations when it comes to soccer about what if we sent our best athletes. I look at Lionel Messi. None of our best athletes are 5'10 and weigh 150 pounds. If Lionel Messi was born in Des Moines, Iowa, he'd be an accountant. That's what he would be. If Lionel Messi was born in Des Moines, Iowa, he would be a teacher somewhere. He would not be a world-class championship soccer level player. You might be wondering, Carrington, how do you know? How do you know? I got 250 years of evidence. We've never done anything like that. We've made the greatest basketball player of all time. We've made the greatest baseball player of all time. We've made the greatest track and field. We've done a lot of amazing things as this country when it comes to athletics. We've never made anything close to what I'm seeing in the World Cup and the level of soccer talent and the level of soccer skill. That's just not what we do. Life is about knowing your strengths and weaknesses. And we got a lot of strengths in this country when it comes to athletics. But one strength we do not have is being good at soccer and developing good soccer players. And again, that's okay. It's okay. I'm fine with it. And I know you might be mad right now with what you're hearing, but ultimately, you're fine with it too. Because you know what will happen tomorrow? Tomorrow, LeBron will make his decision, or Sam Darnold will say that he's the best quarterback in the National Football League. And you know what? We'll stop talking about this World Cup and we'll all move on with the rest of our lives. It was fun. It was great. It was a nice summer fling. But you know what? It's time to go back to school. It's time to go back to school. It was great. I appreciate you. I'll write you sometimes. I'll even see you in a couple of years. We got Copa America. We got the Euros. I'm sure it'll be great. I'm sure it will be fun. But soccer is not going to become a mainstay in our life. We've been having this conversation for far too long. And if they got me on here and you bet, somebody's got to tell the truth about where we are with soccer. You will never love soccer that way. And that's okay. We got a lot to get into in today's show. My name is Carrington Harrison. Very happy to be filling in for my guy, Nick Kostos. Coming up on the other side, LeBron, please hurry up. We'll talk about it next. Keep it right here on You Bet.
Welcome back to You Better You Bet, presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports.
Welcome back into the show. My name is Carrington Harrison. Very happy to be filling in for my guy, Nick Kostos. This segment is sponsored by Progressive Commercial Insurance, protecting small businesses with affordable coverage options. Quote today at progressivecommercial.com. My name is Carrington Harrison, back with you guys on You Better You Bet. So let's talk about LeBron. We've been talking about the World Cup. We'll kind of bounce back and forth today, but let's talk a little bit about LeBron James. This is the analogy that I want to make. Have you ever been talking to a girl and she was just annoying? And like your friend tried to tell you, hey, I don't know, I think Sarah's kind of annoying. No, man, you don't know her like that. And you're like, I don't know, man. I don't know when she's around, the vibe. I can't explain it. I don't know. And then you start to spend a little bit more time with her. You start to hang out with her, start to bring her around more people, more social settings. And then you realize, hey, man, Tim tried to tell me the truth. She is annoying. That's kind of how I feel about LeBron. Now, I want to be clear. I love LeBron. He's my favorite athlete. I'll tell you a story about myself. When I was a kid, I had 3 posters in my room. A 14, 15-year-old Carrington, I had 3 posters in my room. These were the posters. I had the Muhammad Ali standing over Sonny Liston. Everybody knows the picture that I'm talking about. I had a poster of Britney Spears. God, I used to love that woman. And the last poster that I had was LeBron James. His rookie year, the one Witness. I love LeBron. I love LeBron with all my heart. LeBron. I kind of understand what people are talking about. Now, when LeBron did this when he was 15 or when he was 25 years old, 26 years old, and LeBron was trying to decide what team he wanted to go to, I was with it. When LeBron was deciding on whether or not he was going to leave Miami and where he was going to go, I was rooting for him to go back to Cleveland. I didn't even know that was a possibility because of the letter from Dan Gilbert. I thought LeBron was going to be #forever petty. When LeBron was leaving Cleveland for the second time, I was like, LeBron, wherever you go, I'll go. I mean, I still feel that way. I don't want you guys to think that I don't still feel that way. LeBron, whatever team you want to go play for, I'm with you. If you want to go play for the Sacramento Kings, I mean, that's not what I would advise, but if that's in your heart, you're a King and you want to go play for the Kings, I'm riding with you. If you want to apologize to Memphis for the comments you made last year and you want to go play for the Memphis Grizzlies, I'm with you. I'll go support whatever team you want to cheer for. But I just want you to pick. I think LeBron knows. I think LeBron internally made a decision a long time ago and just loves to toy with us. Loves to have his fun. I saw him. He at the Jay-Z concert. He up dancing. I see him on doing podcasts. He's at Fanatics Fest. He's dropping hints. He's mentioning trust the process. He's mentioning that he loves warm weather. He's doing all of these things. LeBron, we know the shenanigans. Now, you know what team you're going to play for. And I don't know how LeBron can still do this to us for this reason. It's not like you adding LeBron guarantees that you're winning a championship. Back then, the reason the decision was such a big deal is he was the greatest free agent in the history of basketball. You knew whatever team he went to was going to shift the landscape of the NBA, and it did. The Heat went to 4 straight finals. They won 2 of them. So, yeah, you knew his next decision. Cleveland goes to another 4 championships. He wins a ring, maybe the greatest championship of the last 25 years. You knew the kind of effect it was going to have. It's not going to have that same effect now, depending on what team he goes to. If he goes to Cleveland, that's the vanity play. That's the I want my Kobe season. But you want me to believe a team led with Donovan Mitchell, LeBron James, and James Harden, you want me to think that team's winning the championship? Because I'm not buying it. Maybe they might win the championship in 2015, in 2016. They're not winning in 2026. But you know what? That's where I want them to go. I want LeBron to go back to Cleveland. I want LeBron for one last time to be in front of those fans, put that chalk in his hand, That's what I want him to do. But that's the vanity play. If you want to go play for Cleveland, if you want to have those memories, great. We salute you. I'll be there with you, arm in arm. Maybe he wants to go back to Miami. I mean, I can't imagine being a billionaire and living in Miami. Sounds amazing. You just lived in LA for all these years, and now you're thinking about going back to Cleveland, Ohio? You can't be excited about that. LeBron, when was the last time that you had to warm up your car? When was the last time you had to get out with the ice scraper? You never had to do that. You haven't had to do that. You didn't have to do that in Miami. You got to in Cleveland. You got to park in a garage in Cleveland. You got to warm up the car. You need the remote starter in Cleveland. You don't need it in some of these other destinations. So I understand wanting to go back to Miami. You got history there with Spoelstra. You got history there with Pat Riley. Giannis is there. Now, I don't know who's going to shoot on that team, because if you got a team and your team is Davion Mitchell and Andrew Wiggins and LeBron and Giannis and Bam Adebayo, you guys might be the worst shooting team in the league next year. So somebody's got to be able to space the floor. Somebody's got to be able to knock down shots. I don't know who that's going to be on that roster, but somebody is going to have to be able to knock down some shots on that team, because LeBron, that's not who you are anymore. You and Giannis are head down, drive to the basket, finish at the rim kind of guys. Guard all 5 position kind of guys. Not really space the floor, knock down shots kind of guys. Not really an MO. So those are the vanity plays. If you want to go to Cleveland, great. If you want to go to Miami, great. If you want to go play in Golden State, I'm also for that too. If you want to stay where it's warm, stay on the West Coast, easy flight between LA and San Francisco for you to get back home, get to your family. Maybe you don't want, maybe your wife doesn't want to move. You got a younger daughter. Maybe she wants to stay there. Hey, if you want to continue to live in California, Golden State offers you a great foundation. You love Draymond. You enjoy playing with Steph in the Olympics. Steve Kerr's one of the great coaches of all time. You get to go there. It's warm. People will love you there. They'll embrace you in Golden State the way they never did in Los Angeles, even though it's Steph's team, because Steph's going to come in. Hey, this is my man. Put his arm around you, and you guys can try to go win. Now, I don't think you win the championship with a bunch of old dudes in a young man league, but you know what? It'll be fun to watch. LeBron, what I'm saying is, I don't really care what team you go to as long as you don't go play for the Sixers. As long as LeBron doesn't go play for the Sixers, I'm perfectly fine with whatever decision he makes. Playing for the Sixers would validate everything that people have said about you, LeBron, for the last 15 years. Front runner, team hopper, bandwagon, all of those kind of things that people have said. You would not be on that team if they didn't make the Jaylen Brown trade. If Jaylen Brown was still in Boston, you would not be considering going to Philadelphia. But because they made that trade for Jaylen Brown, and it appears that they fleeced the Boston Celtics, now you want to pop in Johnny come lately, let me throw my hat in the ring, let me add my name to the mix and try to go win a cheap championship. Try to go win your Gary Payton playing for the Miami Heat. We don't recognize that, LeBron. Again, I say this with love. I really do. So as we sit around, and this is the best soap opera on TV since Real Housewives of the Potomac. This is the best soap opera since General Hospital. Maybe the best reality TV show since Love Island Season 8 just ended. It is, what team is LeBron James going to play for? Let me ask the fellas here and how they've been kind of gauging this situation and where they think. Tyler, we'll start with you as we are sitting here. We're waiting for LeBron. We're waiting to see what LeBron is going to do. We're waiting to see what team LeBron is going to ultimately end up playing for. Tyler, as we sit here on day, I don't know what episode of the show that we're on, what team do you think LeBron is going to go to? What team do you think LeBron should go to?
So originally after all this, before all this started, I thought it was going to be Golden State because Draymond opted out, assuming he's going to take less money. But now the more and more this goes, I don't think Golden State's going to be the answer. As a Sixers fan, I'd love if it was the Sixers. Don't think it's going to be them either. I still think it's going to be Cleveland. He's just going to kind of retire, do a whole documentary farewell tour, and that's just going to be it. So I really wanted to be the Sixers or the Warriors, but unfortunately, I think it's going to be like the least interesting one and be the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Yeah, I think so too. I just think Cleveland, I just think they make too much sense. I really do. I think they make too much sense. If you want that Kobe farewell tour, that send off, that last year in a jersey that's meaningful, if you want that speech at the end of it, you remember after that great Kobe game, they give Kobe the mic and he's standing there in the middle of the court and he's talking about what that organization means to him, what that building means to him, what those fans, and then he says, Mamba out. That's the moment that I think LeBron wants. That's the moment that I think he's chasing. Maybe you get that in Miami. You know, if he plays his last game in Miami, he can say, hey, I was a kid when I came here and you guys helped turn me into a man. You get one of those kind of speeches. You know, I never won a championship. You guys taught me how to win championships. He's standing there with Spoelstra. He's standing there with Pat Riley. You know, you can give a really impassioned Miami means so much to me speech. LeBron's crying. His kids are there. He tells you a story of how one of his kids was born in Miami and how they grew up and what elementary school they went to. You know, that's a story that makes a lot of sense. You only get that in two places. You only get that. And honestly, when we think back, it will look weird if LeBron puts on one of those other uniforms. If you see LeBron's last year and he's wearing those the City Warriors uniforms, we're going to make fun of that 20 years from now. The same way we make fun of Patrick Ewing playing for the Orlando Magic, or the way we make fun of Shawn Kemp playing for the Cleveland Cavaliers, or Akeem Olajuwon playing for the Toronto Raptors. LeBron, I don't want you to be a meme. I don't want you to be Shaq on the Celtics, bro. I don't want that for you. Please don't do that. It'll be different if you it'll be different in a Miami uniform. It'll be different in a Cleveland uniform. It won't be different if you randomly put on a 76ers uniform. I'm telling you, it won't be good. Like, you don't want that. LeBron, can you imagine LeBron in that Allen Iverson's 2001 throwback jersey? And then that's the one we start showing as indicative that you were washed at the end of your career. Come on, LeBron. You've been as social media savvy as anybody that I can remember. I don't want that for you. All right, Kenny, let me get your opinion here. Tyler just gave you his thoughts on what he thinks and where he thinks he can go. He has him going back to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Kenny, as we are hopefully winding this thing down, I do think we're coming up on I think LeBron has all of the information. I think LeBron has made his decision and is just simply waiting to announce his decision. I find it hard to believe that LeBron at home is just wrestling back and forth, having these sit-down conversations with his wife, and doesn't know where he's going to go. I think he knows. We're just waiting to find out and waiting to get that announcement, and he's just letting this play out a little bit longer to maybe grab a little bit more attention and grab some more headlines. But, Kenny, as we sit here, where do you think LeBron's going to eventually end up? All right. My bad. We can't hear Kenny. Well, Kenny doesn't want to weigh in. Kenny doesn't want to give us his thoughts on where LeBron is potentially going to go. We'll hear from Kenny. I would like to get his opinion on where he think he could eventually go. So we're winding down this thing with LeBron. I'm not exactly sure when he's going to make his decision. I'm not exactly sure when LeBron is going to decide what team he is going to play for. You would have to think that we are closer to the end of this thing more than anything. But with LeBron, if there's one thing I know, it's that we don't know, and we have no clue yet where LeBron James is ultimately going to end up and going to play. Coming up on the other side, we'll get back to the World Cup. We saw a champion crown yesterday, Spain, with a 1-0 win over Argentina. Argentina had a man get a red card in regulation time. They were playing down 10. It felt like just a matter of time until Spain broke through. They eventually broke through. They had a chance to score another goal, but that goal was rescinded because of an offsides. But it was as dominant of a 1-0 soccer win that you could potentially have. Argentina did not have a shot on goal. Not a one. They ran up and down that field for over 120 minutes, people. They did not have a shot on goal. It was one of the most impressive defensive performances that we have ever seen and we've ever discussed. And you know what? I think secretly we all hate defense. We'll talk about it. My name is Carrington Harrison, filling in for Nick Kostos on You Better You Bet.
Welcome back to You Better You Bet, presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports.
All right, welcome back into the show. My name is Carrington Harrison. Very happy to be here with you, filling in for my guy, Nick Kostos. Let me remind you that today, BetMGM players will receive an Any Sport Parlay Boost token. To use this, all you need to do is add a parlay wager to your betting slip and activate the token. If you win your wager that was made with the token, you'll receive those extra winnings. Download the BetMGM app today, and remember to please gamble responsibly. Shout out to the fine people over at BetMGM. So, let me take you through my day yesterday. I was really excited for this soccer match. You know, I've been keeping up with this World Cup. I was laying a couple of wagers down on the World Cup. I had a bet on Spain to win the World Cup at the very beginning of this thing. You know, I was invested to what they had going on. Now, I can't think of too many times I've done this, especially for a non-United States soccer game. But you know what I decided? I decided that I was going to position my Sunday around watching soccer. So I got up early, you know, I did all of my errands, did all of my responsibilities, all the things that I needed to do. Somebody wanted to do something. I was like, you know what? No, at 2 o'clock, I'm watching soccer. And I sat there at my house and I was watching this soccer intently. I was watching this game like it was a 325 Packers Cowboys America's Game of the Week. I was very dialed into it. And you know what I determined? Probably about 30, 45 minutes into this thing. Man, this is boring. Now, I know some of you soccer people are going to try to sell me on the tension, and I'm sure of it. And it got better. It was not terrible the entire time. I mean, it was terrible for a large portion of it, but it was not terrible the whole time. Probably around the 85th minute, when the game was about to end, you started seeing a little different sense of urgency of, let's try to go score. Once we got to extra time and Argentina was down a man, you certainly got increased energy of, hey, let's try to score. Let's be more aggressive. Let's be more assertive. You got some of those things toward the end. But I got to tell you, man, that soccer game, not memorable, boring, snooze fest. There was a point in the game, I started playing Candy Crush on my phone. I was sitting there, and I've never longed more for the Hall of Fame game than I did at that moment right there. At that moment, as I was sitting there watching this game that I got excited for, that I planned my evening around, that I planned my afternoon around, I started yearning for a preseason football game in Canton, Ohio. I was like, that would be more exciting than this. One of the lies that we like to tell ourselves is that we love defense. Now, I'm not saying that we need every game to be some 72-70 Big 12, 11 a.m. kickoff. I don't need that for every single game. No, I do want more strategy. I do want more push and pull and resistance. I don't want every basketball game to be 200 to 198, but I also don't want the basketball game to be 60 to 58 either. There's a middle ground. There doesn't have to be either the extreme. It doesn't have to be 0 degrees or 100 degrees. We can have a nice 71-degree day. Everybody likes a nice 70-degree day. I didn't get a 70-degree day yesterday. Not at all. I never thought I would see a team that should have gotten negative goals. That's how I felt about Argentina. I felt like Argentina should have had negative goals. Like, I don't know if you guys know the stats or not, but on the stats, they show you expected goals. So, you know, just because, you know, you haven't scored, well, you've been moving the ball, you've been kind of getting into your territory, you've been doing a lot of these things, you know, your expected goals. Spain's expected goals were 2.2. All right, that makes sense. Hey, you should have probably scored here, but you kicked it over the net. This was a great save. All of those things. Expected goals. Argentina's expected goal was 0.22. Expected. You know how many shots on goal Argentina had? 0. That means that with Lionel Messi on their team, with Martinez on their team, with the team that won the last World Cup, they had as many shots on goal as if me and you and 9 of our closest friends put a team together and decided to go compete in the World Cup. I mean, we also wouldn't get a shot. We wouldn't get a shot. Possession was 65-35. I don't know. We maybe could have possession for, 15%, 20%. This is not Sports Talk Guy trying to overestimate my ability. I'm telling you that Argentina did so little with the ball, it makes it hard to think that me and a collection of 11 of my friends, that we could do less than what they've done. Spain didn't have a save. They didn't have a save. They faced 2 shots the whole game, 120 minutes. 2. How can there be as many hydration breaks as shots faced? Can you explain that to me? Can you explain to me how the most exciting part for Argentina was seeing Shakira perform at the halftime show? That was the most exciting part of it, was watching Shakira. It was bad, man. I'm telling you, it was bad. I'm not anti-soccer guy. I'm really not. I don't want to be that American's like, oh, I hate soccer. I don't hate soccer. I got into this World Cup. I enjoyed this World Cup. But I'm telling you, if you've had a tough time sleeping, if you've been struggling, you didn't need those rain sounds. You didn't. You didn't need to turn on that noisemaker to go to bed. If you're ever struggling to get to sleep, turn on the first half of the 2026 FIFA World Cup final. Just turn it on. And I'm telling you, NyQuil, go right to sleep. Your kid's having a tough time going to bed. Your kid's just rambunctious, can't go to bed. Turn that on instantly. Immediately. Sleep is what will happen. I'm telling you, that's what it was like. That's what I saw yesterday. I can't. Maybe you guys are out there screaming at me, oh, that game was exciting. Hey, if that's what soccer people think was exciting, it explains why we don't like it. It really doesn't. It explains 100% why we don't like it. And y'all can have it. I don't want it. I don't want more games like that in my future. In fact, I never want to speak on that game ever again. I want you to have it. I want you to enjoy it. I want you to celebrate. Congratulations to Spain. Congratulations for Argentina for even getting to the World Cup final. That's tough to do. You won one last time. You got to another one. That's great. It really is. It's great. But that one, a snooze fest, which is kind of sad in the face of how great the third place game was. Now, I watched a real tiny piece of a third place game, like a real tiny piece. But I saw a lot of people, they were commenting on it. And they're like, oh, well, what if we tried this somewhere else? What if the NFL tried a third place game? What if this league tried a third place game? And I was sitting there thinking, I was like, we already got third place games. They're called college football bowl games. There's no reason for Cal and Nebraska to be playing each other on December 27th. In El Paso, Texas. There's no reason for them to be playing each other other than it's a consolation prize. Like, why do we need more of those kind of games? We have a third place game. You just call it the Holiday Bowl. We have a third place game. You call it the Pop-Tart Bowl. That's what you call it. So I don't want to hear this, oh, we need third place games. If you watch college football, we love a third place game. They call it the most wonderful time of the year, all these third place games. Hey, you know what? You didn't win your league. You're not in the college football playoff, but would you mind playing one more college football game for us? Just one. We don't need you to play more than one. Just play one more college football game. Oh, where are we going to play at? We're going to Hawaii? We going to the Bahamas? Where are we going? You're going to Birmingham, Alabama in December. Have fun. Wait, what? Hey, can you guys go play one more college football game? Yeah, it's going to be in Memphis the day after Christmas. We love a third place game. We got enough. We got enough. We got more than enough third place games. So we don't need it in the NFL. Can you imagine if they adopted this idea in the NFL? Like, I know you're probably thinking, oh man, it's be a great idea. It's be a great idea. You know what I'm not letting Cortland Sutton go do if I'm the Denver Broncos? Go play in this third place game. You know what I'm not letting Matthew Stafford do after a tough NFC championship game? You already know he got a bad back anyway. He got the Tracy McGrady back. You know what we're not letting him do? We're not letting him compete in this. I'm not letting him do that. Not at all. So I get it. It sounds good, and I'm all for more sports, more football, more excitement. I'm all for any of those things. You know what we don't need? More consolation games. It just showed me the overall greed of FIFA is what it showed me. FIFA, I'm shocked we just stopped at third. We should have had a fifth place game. We should have had a seventh place game. We should have let some of the last place teams play each other. We should have done more of this if they were FIFA. I never seen a corporation that is just after we about this money. We going to get all of the money that y'all have to give us. You're already over here. Your flight's not until tonight anyway. So you might as well just give us some of the money. Like, I've never seen that. Hey, you don't fly out until Sunday night anyway. So why don't we just put together a soccer game and you guys can play it? I've never seen anything like it before. The dedication, the commitment to it from the fine people over at FIFA. But honestly, we're having fun here. It was a great tournament. It really was a great tournament. It was a very enjoyable tournament. And it really goes to show how I think America does big events better than just about anybody. There is nobody that does a better job at these kinds of events at the absolute highest level than I think the United States does. We just do a fantastic job at these kind of events. The pageantry of the World Cup was fantastic. It was phenomenal. It was a really exciting tournament. And congratulations to Spain. You know, we watch a lot of these single elimination tournaments where the best team doesn't win and it's the team that gets hot, or a call ends up dictating who wins the championship. That is not how we are going to feel about this year's World Cup. No, no, no. It was very obvious who the best team was in this year's tournament, and they dominated this tournament from start to finish. They allowed one goal the whole time. All of that soccer, all of that running up and down the field, they allowed one goal in this entire tournament. So congratulations to them. All right, coming up at the top of the hour, we're going to switch gears a little bit. We haven't talked a lot of NFL today. We're going to get to the NFL coming up in just a bit. ESPN, they do one of my favorite off-season things where they go through just about every position in the NFL and offer up their top 10. Recently, they did the quarterback position, and they went through their top 10 quarterbacks in the National Football League. So I'll give you my opinions on that. And there's one quarterback, I just scratch my head on why he's so valued this way by the NFL. I'll tell you who it is. My name is Carrington Harrison. Very happy to be here on Westwood One Sports, filling in for my guy Nick Kostos on You Better You Bet.
and to live the thrill of the action.
Hey, baby, let's go out there like a bunch of crazy dogs. What the hell's going on out here?
No idea what's going on, but I am excited.
Every pick, every play, every game-changing moment.
Unbelievable!
This is You Better You Bet, brought to you by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports.
Good morning. My name is Carrington Harrison. Very happy to be here with you guys, filling in for my guy, Nick Kostos, on You Better You Bet. So I'm going to let you in on a media secret. Maybe you've learned this by now. Maybe you haven't. There are some bits that let you know that we are in the middle of a dead period. Whenever your favorite radio host starts pulling out the Mount Rushmore topic, it's a little light outside. It's real light outside. Because you know that's something that's going to work. That's your bread and butter. Another reason, when you start to realize that football is right around the corner, or that, hey, we kind of need some fresh new content, I like to call it list season. Because if there is something that can always get us up in arms, that can always get us to start arguing, it's a good list. We don't even know who these people are that fill out the list. And we ultimately know that the list does not matter. But that does not stop us from arguing about who is on the list, who is not on the list, and where somebody is ranked on the list. I love it. There's two that get me going every single offseason. I love the quarterback tiers list from Mike Sando of The Athletic. And I love the ESPN top 10 list. So for those of you not familiar with this, ESPN gets 70 inside the NFL people, scouts, personnel evaluators, coaches, coordinators. They get 70 of these people, and they ask them to make a list of who they think are the top 10 players at a certain position. And they go down the line. They'll do running back, and they'll do safety, and they'll do off-ball linebacker and these things. But you know the one that we care about the most? We care about arguing about the quarterback position. So let me get to you the honorable mention. So these are the guys who just fell outside of the top 10. Sam Darnold, Jaden Daniels, Jordan Love, Brock Purdy, Baker Mayfield, Trevor Lawrence, and Jalen Hurts. Now, I'm not here to tell you that I'm the biggest Jalen Hurts fan in the world, but if there's one thing I know for certain, he is not a bottom half quarterback in the National Football League. There are not 16 quarterbacks in this league better than Jalen Hurts. Why is he behind Trevor Lawrence? Why is he behind Jordan Love? The disrespect for Jalen Hurts has got to stop at some point. I understand that he's a little frustrating at times. They have those gaps and those lulls in the second half of games. They did it a couple times last year. But you can't go to 2 Super Bowls. You can't win another one. You can't win MVP in that Super Bowl. You can't be the quarterback of a team that's won double-digit games as many times as Jalen Hurts has. And now you want me to believe he's a bottom-half quarterback in the National Football League. You know what it is? It's disrespectful is what it is. So as I continue to look at this list, as I continue to go through this list, so number 10 is Caleb Williams. Number 9 is Jared Goff. Number 8 is Drake May. 7 is Justin Herbert. 6 is Dak Prescott. Now, I think there's actually a pretty noticeable gap between 6 and 5. And once you get to that top 5, we might disagree on where they're ranked in the top 5, but I do feel pretty sure that these are the 5 best quarterbacks in the National Football League. Lamar Jackson is number 5. Joe Burrow is number 3. Matthew Stafford is Joe Burrow is number 4. Matthew Stafford is number 3. Patrick Mahomes is number 2. And Josh Allen is the number 1 ranked quarterback on this list. Now let's talk about this list. If you think that Josh Allen's the best quarterback, great. I'm not here to argue that. If we're just talking just about the regular season, if this is a week 4 game and you take Josh Allen, I'm on your side. I think Josh Allen has been the best regular season quarterback for the last couple of years. I believe that. But would anybody take Josh Allen in the postseason? And I'm asking, would you take Josh Allen in the postseason if you were offered Josh Allen to be your starting quarterback for a divisional round matchup and Patrick Mahomes as a divisional round matchup? Would you take Josh Allen as your starting quarterback? The answer is no. So how can you be the number one ranked quarterback on this list if that's not the quarterback you would have in the postseason? Greatness is not defined by an October game against the Miami Dolphins. Greatness is not defined by a nice win against the Cowboys in Week 11 in November. Greatness is defined in January and your ability to take your team down the field, put them in the end zone, and get them over the hump and advance them in the postseason. And Josh Allen has not shown us he can do that now. He's 30. So again, if you want to argue that this is just a regular season accomplishment list and what you've done in the regular season of late, and that Josh Allen has been the best fantasy football quarterback, he's been the most consistent quarterback, again, I'm not here to argue you. I'm not here to fight you. What you're saying makes a lot of sense. But I asked the question again, is that the quarterback that you would take in January, back up against the wall? You need to win one NFL playoff game. Would you take Josh Allen to be your starting quarterback? And you and I both know that the answer to that question is no, because of course not. You would not take Josh Allen to be your starting quarterback in that scenario. The next quarterback that I want to ask you guys about is Justin Herbert. What am I not seeing with Justin Herbert? What am I missing with Justin Herbert? Because I have a theory. I'm not saying that Justin Herbert is a COVID creation, but I'm telling you that his best seasons happened during COVID. And once we came out on the other side of it, and once we came out with now fans and the games are regular and back to where they were, he's never hit those ceilings again. His first season in the league, Justin Herbert threw for 31 touchdown passes. It is important to note there were no fans in the stands during these games. In 2021, Justin Herbert threw for 5,000 yards and 38 touchdown passes. That was still that weird hybrid period where some teams had fans, some teams had limited fans, some teams were doing that. We didn't get back normal, in my opinion, in the NFL and really around the world. We didn't get back normal until 2022. So the 2020 stats, I think if you look at the passing numbers, way up in 2020, 2021, the exact same deal. Since then, the last 4 years with Justin Herbert, he has thrown 25 touchdown passes, 20 touchdown passes, 23 and 26. He has not won a playoff game. He has not won his division. You know what? Justin Herbert is Sam Darnold with the better agent. That's who he is. If you look at his numbers, if you put them up against the board and I show you what this quarterback has done and what this quarterback has done, I'm telling you, he is Kyler Murray who drank more milk as a kid. That's who Justin Herbert has been for the large majority of his life in the National Football League. I just don't get it. Maybe I'm just not seeing what everybody else is seeing. In the postseason, the last 2 years, he has been abysmal. Last year against the Chargers, he threw for 159 yards. 2 seasons ago against the Texans, he threw 4 interceptions in those games. Again, he's never won a playoff game. He's never won his division. He hasn't thrown 30 touchdown passes in a season since 2021. What am I not seeing with Justin Herbert that everybody else is seeing? And then I'm reading this story and I'm reading their quotes and I'm reading their comments. And the comments to me, they're puzzling. It makes me wonder if I'm watching the same quarterback. Quote, if you're building to pick a quarterback, you're still taking Justin Herbert very high. There's a reason why the Chargers OC job was highly regarded and the best one available. It's because of him. McDaniels should be able to streamline some things for him and manufacture some easy layup throws for him. I feel like at every point in Justin Herbert's career, it's been somebody else. Early on, it was Brandon Staley. You remember, he's got the quarterback. This coach isn't good enough. We got to get him out of here. All right, you got him out of here. You got Harbaugh. Nobody can say that they are out-coaching the Los Angeles Chargers. They spent the first-round pick on a running back. They spent the first-round pick on a left tackle, first-round pick on a right tackle. They spent first-round picks on wide receivers. Ladd McConkey's a high second-round pick. They've invested in the defense. They paid Derwin James. What more do you need to win a playoff game? It's not even like Herbert's losing these playoff games to Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen. He's getting beat by Trevor Lawrence and C.J. Stroud and Drake May in these postseason games. Again, maybe you guys are seeing something that I don't see with him. Maybe you guys are seeing something I don't see. But I don't understand it. I don't get it. It just, at some point in everybody's career, your potential of what people say you can be and your productivity, your production, they have to intersect. They have to intersect. What people talk about you're going to be and what you are actually doing, they have to meet. And that is not the way we discuss Justin Herbert. Not at all the way we discuss Justin Herbert. We talk about Herbert like he's putting up Jared Goff numbers. We talk about him like he's putting up big-time championship level numbers, and he's not. He threw 26 touchdown passes last year. I mean, he was cool. He had a 94 quarterback rating. He was cool. 2 years ago, he threw 23 touchdown passes. He threw 20 touchdown passes. 20 touchdown passes and 7 interceptions. He's Brock Purdy, but he went to a Pac-12 school. How am I the only one that sees this? I don't get it. I don't understand it. Maybe I'm missing something. The quarterback that I think actually got disrespected in this is Jared Goff. Jared Goff at number 9 is a little disrespectful to me. I would have had Jared Goff as number 6. I think if we are agreeing on who the top 5 is, maybe we don't agree on the order, but we agree that those guys are the top 5. So Lamar, Burrow, Stafford, Mahomes, Allen. If we're agreeing that's the 5, and we can deal with the order later, but that's the 5. I think the best quarterback out of the rest and the guy that's been the most consistent has been Jared Goff. That's the guy I would have gave the 6th place vote to. I wouldn't have put him behind some of these other guys. I think Drake May was very good last season. You got to prove it to me again. You just know how I feel about Justin Herbert. Dak Prescott, very good quarterback. Maybe needs to be a little bit more consistent. The injuries have been a little bit of an issue. The interceptions have been a little bit of an issue. But Dak still is a very, very good quarterback. I'm not here to poke holes in Dak Prescott's game. I think Jared Goff is the best of the rest. But I just really want to know. I want to know what I'm missing with Justin Herbert. And maybe you guys can help me. Kenny, I want you to weigh in on this if you can. I want to get your thoughts on this. You seem to be a big Justin Herbert guy. What am I not seeing in Justin Herbert that he widely seems to be considered to be a top 10 quarterback in the National Football League, despite not doing any of the things that top 10 quarterbacks doing? What am I missing with Herbert?
I think first of all, he's still really young. And I think a lot of the executives see a guy who we all see the talent week in, week out. He is one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I think all the pieces have not been put together in Los Angeles with the Chargers. We saw it with Phillip Rivers for years, and I know it's a brand new team, and Phillip Rivers was ego. But you look at, he never won either, and he was a great quarterback. So I think Justin Herbert, give him more time. I think that now they're in year 3 with Harbaugh. Things are starting to get put together. Let him win a division, see how he does in a home playoff game. He's played some road playoff games. I think that Justin Herbert and the whole playoff narrative is clouded over how good of a quarterback he really actually is. And that's how I see it, and I think most people should.
Yeah, Justin Herbert's 28 years old. We're entering, I believe it is year 7 now for Justin Herbert. Here's the thing I think about quarterback conversations, and this may be where it's a little bit unfair. Man, once you take that second contract, man, that's when the clock starts, and there has to start being a measure of expectation. It's different when you're on that rookie deal. When you're on that rookie deal, you have so much cap flexibility. You can do this, you can add that player, you can do all of these things. Your salary in no way is prohibitive in any way. Man, once you take the deal that he signed and you sign for 5 for 262 and you get $218 million guaranteed the way that Justin Herbert is, you got to produce a little bit more than he's produced so far. And he's still got basically 3 years left on this deal, 26, 27, 28. I imagine they'll extend him. He's a good quarterback in the National Football League, and teams usually just aren't letting that guy walk out of the door. But they've given that guy a substantial amount of money. They guaranteed him $133 million the day that he signed the deal. He got a bonus in 2024 for $50 million. He got a bonus in 2025 for $45 million. This year's contract was fully guaranteed for $24 million, in addition to some other bonuses and an option. He is making a substantial amount of money. That I'm with you. At some point, you got to start winning your division. The reason you're playing road playoff games is because you keep being a wild card team. We can't even use the Patrick Mahomes excuse. That didn't stop Bo Nix and the Broncos last year. They won that division and hosted playoff games, hosted the AFC Championship game last year coming out of the AFC West. I just think at some point, the expectation of these guys and the production, it has to intersect. They have to meet at some point. And at least in my opinion, with Justin Herbert, that has just not happened so far in the early portion of his career. So we're going to talk a little bit more. We're going to continue our quarterback conversation on the other side. I'm going to point out some scenarios here, and I want to see what your confidence and trust level is in some of these guys. I'll explain more on the other side. You're listening to You Better You Bet on Westwood One Sports.
Welcome back to You Better You Bet, presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports.
All right, let's play a game. This is You Better You Bet. My name is Carrington Harrison. Happy to be filling in for my guy, Nick Kostos, here on Westwood One Radio. Let me remind you that this segment is sponsored by Progressive Commercial Insurance, protecting small businesses with affordable coverage option. Quote today at progressivecommercial.com. We're going to play a game. Now, we can't play international prices right because the World Cup is over. There are no more tickets to be sold. We're going to play a different game. This is the scenario. We're talking quarterbacks here. Let me give you the scenario. It's 24-20. It's a minute 47 left. Your team has the ball with 2 timeouts left. More than enough time to get down the field and score. I'm going to give you a list of quarterbacks. This drive starts at the 34-yard line. You got to go 66 yards and put this ball in the end zone. Your field goal kicker cannot save you. Do you trust this quarterback to get you down the field? Let's go around the room here. Tyler, we'll start with you. We'll start with Justin Herbert. You know what? I'm even throw a caveat in with Herbert. It's week 15 on the road at Arrowhead. This is where legends are made. Do you trust Justin Herbert down 4, a minute 47 left, 2 timeouts? Do you trust him to be able to go down the field and score a touchdown and the Chargers win that football game? Yes or no?
If you said week 15, you prefaced it with that. I think he does.
Late in the season. None of this week 4 against the Dolphins in September nonsense. No, we don't care about that. All of these quarterbacks can do that. A week 14 against the Saints at home in the dome. No, we're talking about going on the road when champions are made. You gotta put a drive together. That's what we're prefacing this with. That's the stakes I'm putting on.
Week 15, yes, I think he could. Especially with this current regime with Mike McDaniel as his new offensive coordinator. I think this year Justin Herbert will be able to do that. Week 15, drive down the field against the Chiefs. So I'll say for this year, yes, he will.
Kenny, I imagine you're saying yes on Herbert. You got Herbert going down the field. You probably got Herbert going down the field on like 3 throws.
Yeah, baby. Lab McConkey down the middle. Rondé Gadsden, line, game-winning field goal, Cameron Dicker.
There's no way you believe that he's doing that with who? Or Orlando Gadsden? That's who you're telling me you're getting down the field with that guy? Herbert overthrew him 2 times at least on this drive. At least twice. All right, but you know what? That's your pick. We're going to go to Dak Prescott. I'll keep it with you on this one, Kenny. I'll keep it with you. Dak Prescott, are they going down the field week 15 on the road in New York against the Giants in the division?
Oh, yeah, that's easy. CD and Pickens all day. Brandon Aubrey can kick it for 60 out. Easy money.
I got a feeling you're going to take all of these guys, but then make me wonder why these guys not performing in the postseason. Because I see these guys in these situations, in these scenarios, and I see a lot of 3-and-outs. I see a lot of fumbles. I see a lot of interceptions late in this scenario. But you know what? It's your pick. You got the confidence in these guys. I can't poke holes in it. It's what you believe. It's what you feel. Tyler, Dak Prescott, 24-20, a minute 47 left, 2 timeouts left on the clock, ball on the 34-yard line. Dak on the road at MetLife against the Giants, week 15. Chris Collinsworth is in the building. Do the Cowboys score a touchdown on this drive?
I absolutely think they do. I think I trust Dak more than a lot of the quarterbacks that haven't won anything in the NFL to lead a fourth quarter drive. So I'm with Kenny on this one. Yes, on Dak Prescott.
Yeah, I think Dak's getting them down the field, too. I'm having a little fun, but I think Dak gets him down the field, too. Now, this is just a regular season Dak Prescott. If this was the first round of the playoffs, and it doesn't matter where that game is, they could be at home, they could be on the road against Green Bay, Dak Prescott's throwing an interception. I'm sorry. He's throwing an interception. I know it, you know it. I mean, he's throwing an absolute butterball to a middle linebacker, and it's getting intercepted in the middle of the field. But in the regular season, you know, I trust Dak. Because this is what will happen. Dak will score a touchdown on this drive, so then the leading conversation is going to be, man, the Cowboys, they're pretty good. They can do it. No, they're not doing anything because they're the Cowboys. The Cowboys used up all their winnings in the 90s. They used up all of them. They have no more winning left. They're like Nebraska football. You won too much in the 80s and the 90s. You've now run out. You've depleted it, You depleted it. It's like you've gone on a trip and you just ate all the snacks in the very, very beginning. There's no more snacks. You got to go to bed hungry. That's what happened. All right, we'll continue these scenarios. 24-20, 147 left, 2 timeouts on the clock, ball on the 34-yard line. Tyler, we'll keep it with you. Jordan Love. Does Jordan Love go down the field and score in this scenario?
Oh man, I feel like this is a tough one. I will say no. For some reason, I feel like the offense is as good as the offense is. That's how far he'll go. And I mean, if Kenny makes up a good point. If we need a touchdown, I'm not going to take Jordan Love. But if we need a field goal, I will absolutely take Jordan Love to get past the 50. So if we need a touchdown, I'm not taking Jordan Love. I think he's going to throw a lollipop interception to a safety.
Jordan Love, to me, Jordan Love is the most confusing player in all of the National Football League. If Jordan Love won MVP this season, I wouldn't be that shocked. I don't know if you could be that shocked. If Jordan Love this season had 34 touchdown passes, 8 interceptions, the Packers are the 2 seed, and he wins MVP, wouldn't be stunned if that happened. That actually would make a lot of sense to me. If we go into 2027 and Jordan Love is on the hot seat because he threw 24 touchdown passes and 13 interceptions and the Cowboys missed the playoffs, also don't really know how you can be shocked if that happens. There's such a wide range of what I think Jordan Love can be this year. I'm still holding out hope, and I know that this goes contrary to everything I said about Justin Herbert, but sometimes sports allow us to be hypocrites, and I'm going to take that Jordan Love is my hypocritical player. I think they score. Don't ask me why. I got a hunch. I got a feeling. I think they're going to score. Kenny, where are you at? Jordan Love in this scenario, does he go down the field and they score a touchdown? They're down 24-20.
I don't think he does. I'm going to say no on this one. And I just realized that the scenarios for this were 24-20. So I was talking about getting a field goal and everything. And the main reason why is I'm not really high on this Packers offense. I know that they've got Tucker Kraft coming back from injury, but they lost a guy like Romeo Doubs, who seemed to be one of Love's favorite targets, and Watson's always getting hurt. So is he even out there by this time of the year? I don't think so. So I'm going to say no for Jordan Love.
I mean, now it makes sense to me why you picked Justin Herbert. I mean, they could have been, you would have picked him to go down the field, score, and you would have had Justin Herbert kicking the onside kick and recovering himself and taking him back down the field again. Do you now want to change your Justin Herbert answer, or you still trust him to go down the field?
So they're playing Kansas City, you said, on the road in Arrowhead?
On the road.
They need 7 with a minute left.
To score. Yes, go ahead and say no.
In the Chiefs' defense scenario, I mean, scoring a touchdown when you need it that bad is so hard. I mean, we've seen Mahomes do it a bunch of times to get them in field goal range, which that's what makes him so good and why he plays in all the big games, which I think Herbert is capable of doing. In that scenario, I would take the Chiefs' defense to stop Herbert of scoring a touchdown.
All right, Kenny, I want to go back to you. Or Tyler, I want to go back to you on this one. We'll pick our next quarterback, Bo Nix. Do you think Bo Nix takes his team down the field to score on the road in this scenario?
This is I know you said Jordan Love's the most confusing one. To me, Bo Nix is the most confusing one because he's, in my opinion, is so propped up by a really good coach in Sean Payton and a really good scheme, even though the receivers are not very good outside of Cortland Sutton. I will say yes, but I'll say he does it mainly because he can run more than he can throw the ball. So I feel like his legs will get the team down the field more than his arm.
Yeah, I like Bo Nix. I can't explain it with Bo Nix, but for a lot of the same reasons that you picked. I think he's a gamer. I think he figures out a way to wiggle out of a tackle and get a 24-yard gain down the field. I think he makes one big throw to Jalen Waddle. And I think the Broncos score a touchdown in that scenario. They did that so many times last season. I think they score. I really do. I trust them to score in that scenario. I really do. Kenny, we'll come back to you. Bo Nix, you taking them to score in this scenario?
Yeah, I'll agree with you guys. I mean, he made some huge throws in that game against the Bills in the playoffs. He really showed me a lot. I know that Tyler mentioned a lot of it's about the scheme, and also he plays in a good defense. They won a lot of close games against lesser opponents last year, but I truly believe that Bo Nix is clutch at the very least, and the addition of Jalen Waddle is going to help a lot. You mentioned, I think he can make a nice.
All right, you know what? I'll keep it with you here, and I'll give you back-to-back. I'll throw two more quarterbacks out here before we're joined by Martino Puccio. We'll talk a little World Cup soccer here in a bit. Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels on the road against the Cowboys in this scenario. Late in the season, the Commanders really need this to grab one of those wild card spots. Are you trusting Jaden Daniels to get his team down the field?
Actually am, and I just mentioned it with Bo Nix. Daniels has shown he's clutch, and I'm a little worried about this Commanders offense, but I think Terry McLaurin, Antonio Williams, the rookie, should have a great year. So I think Daniels would be able to get it done, especially against a Cowboys defense that's we know is not very great, although should be improved.
If there's a team or quarterback that we all just kind of moved on from, it was Jaden Daniels. I mean, a year ago at this time, people were talking about Jaden Daniels like he was a top 10 quarterback. If you could take any quarterback that's under the age of 25, you would take Jaden Daniels. We were talking about if you could do a redraft, he would go number one over Caleb Williams. Like, people jumped out of the window for Jaden Daniels. Time moves on. Caleb had a great second season. Drake May had a great second season. Bo Nix was really good last year. I don't know. I was getting a feeling that people are just kind of moving on from Jaden Daniels. That's just what I'm feeling. Tyler, what do you think? Are you taking Jaden Daniels in this scenario?
No, to be honest, no. And I think it's all because of the Commanders' offense. Like right now, they're just a Terry McLaurin funnel. They got nothing else. Like we think Antonio Williams would be a good player. I mean, he was a high prospect at Clemson. He got hurt a ton, and he's going to be slotting into a major role. But you tell me this is the offense right now, and it's the only target is Terry McLaurin. Like, no, I'm out. I'm out on this. So I'll say no.
All right, Tyler, I'm going to keep it with you here. We'll do one last quarterback. We were debating him earlier today. Jalen Hurts. Now, no A.J. Brown. You got a rookie receiver in Mekhi Lemon. We'll see how he fits into that offense. Do you trust the Eagles to go down the field and score a touchdown in this scenario?
As an Eagles fan, offensive currently constructed. Last year, 2 years ago, I would say yes. This year, I'm skeptic. So I would say actually no. On Jalen Hurts not leading the Eagles down the field.
Okay, you're going with no with your guy here. All right, Kenny, you're the last one here, and then we're going to talk World Cup soccer. Jalen Hurts down 4, got to score a touchdown. You trust Jalen Hurts to take the Eagles down the field?
I'm gonna say yes to Jalen Hurts. He's a known winner, and I think they have enough pieces on offense. I'm a big fan of Devontae Smith. I'm going to give Jalen Hurts a yes.
All right, our quarterback scenarios here. There was a list on ESPN about the top 10 quarterbacks in the National Football League. Jalen Hurts came in at 17th place on the quarterback list. Coming up on the other side, the World Cup has concluded. We will review all of it with Martino Puccio. We'll talk some soccer next. Keep it right here on Westwood One Sports. You better, you bet.
Welcome back to You Better You Bet, presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports.
Welcome back into the show. My name is Carrington Harrison. Happy to be filling in for my guy, Nick Kostos. Today, BetMGM players will receive an any sport parlay boost. To use the parlay boost token, add a parlay wager to your bet slip and advance the token. If you win your wager, that means that was made with the token, that means you will receive extra winnings. Please download the BetMGM app today. Please gamble responsibly. You don't really have a whole lot of different sports to bet on today, so you know what? I would get ready to be betting on some Colorado Rockies baseball. That's about all I think you got to use with that parlay boost token today. Let's head to the phone lines and be joined by Martino Puccio. He covers soccer to talk about the World Cup that just ended here in the United States. Spain, they were the winner yesterday, 1-0 over Argentina. Martino, happy to be talking soccer with you today, my man.
Hey, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. Let's just start with this. I think this World Cup has to get an A+. I think it went off great. When you think about how America embraced it, we certainly have the capacity to hold a sporting event of this kind. You look at the people that came over, them identifying with the culture and celebrating the culture. The stars played like stars. You got Lionel Messi in the championship game. I don't know how you can give this World Cup anything less than A+.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when it expanded to 48 teams too, to have that amount of quality during the entire tournament. It felt like the month went by so quickly too, because usually, obviously, this will end maybe a week or two earlier because of all these extra games. This was a home run. All the stars showed up for the most part, and wasn't the greatest of finals, but I still thought the best team of the tournament ended up winning, and that's kind of all you can ask for sometimes.
When you think back to this World Cup, 4-8 years from now, what's going to be the memory that stands out to you? What's going to be your favorite moment from this World Cup?
Ooh, favorite moment stuff. I would say just all those stars showing up, to be quite honest with you. Having Mbappe, Jude Bellingham, Harry Kane, Messi, Olise was great. Rodri obviously winning the Golden Ball. Whether I disagree with that is a separate topic. But every single team that was kind of getting hyped up and coming through in this tournament stepped up, in my opinion, outside a little bit. Team USA, obviously, a sour ending against Belgium, but there was a lot of progression there, and scoring a ton of goals and dominating in the group stage was definitely a fond memory that all have. But I think it was just the camaraderie of everyone joining into America when times are not so great in terms of relations with the rest of the world. Having every single person that came over here. I mean, how many times where we see in Kansas, Algerians are heading over there and people from Kansas are embracing them. I know that's kind of right in your backyard, right? So it's not too far from you. Just seeing something like that, where else are you going to get that? That's one of the most incredible things to see. So it's the unifying sport of the world, and I thought it was exactly that.
Yeah, I went to the Algeria-Austria game, that final game of group stage where both of them needed a tie in order to advance. I never been to a sporting event like that before. Just the pageantry of it all, and the national anthems before, and it's just nonstop singing, and it's instruments, and it's dancing, and the culture, and all of those things. I mean, it ended up being a pretty thrilling game, but I've been to a lot of games, been to a lot of sporting events. I've never been to anything like a World Cup game before.
Oh, no. There's nothing that really compares to that, especially when it comes around every 4 years. You don't know what your opportunities are. These guys have their entire careers on the line, their legacies, right? Even if it's just to make it to the knockout stage, Algeria, and that's the beauty of it, is that it's technically everyone's biggest moment of their life. And they've been working towards this, and they might never get a chance to be at this stage and level again. So to put everything out there on the line and represent your country, it's why we love the Olympics. It's why we love this tournament. But it truly is the global stage for this and the world's most popular sport. To have that in so many different cities across the country here, especially Mexico and Canada as well, who did a good job of hosting. It was tremendous, and I had so much fun watching every single game.
Right now, we're talking to Martino Puccio, just recapping the World Cup here. I want to talk one more kind of big picture question, and then we'll get to yesterday's game. I don't know if there is a star in this tournament that did more for himself than Erling Haaland. I'm watching him, he's in Texas shopping for a cowboy hat. If there's a guy that you're going to tell me in 4 months, hey, he's playing in the EPL, do you want to watch him? That's going to be the guy that I want to see just every time he was out there, you felt like he had a chance to score a goal, and more times than not, he did.
Yeah, I mean, he's incredible. He's such a generational talent when it comes to goal scoring. And he's been that ever since he's burst onto the scene as a teenager with Salzburg in the Champions League, and then moving to Dortmund and dominated there. And then the same goes for that. They were great in qualifiers. And I think what the real moment was beating Brazil, where he barely had any touches throughout that game, and he scores that winner it ended up being the winner, right? Because Neymar's penalty. But just to have that moment where he's just so cold and just walking around, he's got this unique look to him. He's an absolute killer. For me, yeah, when my mom is texting me about Erling Haaland, right, it's just one of those things of like, a guy is a true superstar when your mom knows who Shaq is. And that's basically what Haaland is at this point. I know people who are DMing me that never watch that are like, this guy's hilarious, because it's also like a cultural thing too, where he just has his neck sticking out and he has this unique look with his blonde hair. Yes, plays for one of the biggest clubs in England, so he's a huge draw all the time. And that was one of the names I omitted by accident, was Haaland stepping up in this, and Norway going as far as they did, where they really had an opportunity to knock out England and get to a semifinal if it wasn't for that stupid cable wire that they hit in Miami. It was just a tremendous tournament for him, and really puts the sport on the map for a club like Manchester City, and just even Norwegians as a whole too, because their fans were taking everything by storm. I'm a Mets fan, so we're getting destroyed. I forget by what team. It might have been the Phillies, and it's 11-2, and you see all the Norwegians doing the row and dancing in the outfield. It was just a unique moment that we'll never really get to see again.
I mean, I don't know how you can keep all the Mets losses straight with how many you guys have accumulated this year. Like, I don't know how that one was against the Phillies. You guys lose just about every night.
Yeah, I'm also guessing too. It could have been against any other team, really. I mean, even the Rockies give it to us at this point. So it is what it is. But yeah, I mean, listen, nothing is more Mets than seeing them get battered at home, and then you just cut to people celebrating in the outfield. Like, no one, it wouldn't happen to anyone else. It could have gone to any other ballpark. It would not have happened. It's only the Mets that. But I digress, and we're not here to talk about baseball.
Right now, we're talking to Martino Puccio. We're talking a little World Cup soccer. Let's just talk about yesterday. Now, I'm a very soccer novice. I'm a soccer casual. I don't pretend to be an expert. I kind of find it hard to believe that you can lose worse 1-0 than what Argentina did yesterday. There was never a time in which they had a chance to win that game. Very rarely were they in on the attack. I think they only really had 2 good, solid goal-scoring opportunities, and that was really late in the game. That was a defensive masterclass. That was an absolute beatdown yesterday that we saw Spain put on Argentina.
Yeah, it was everything I thought it would be with the way they were controlling the tempo. And people like to highlight their defensive side of things. The defense, honestly, was never really under pressure because the midfield had the ball the entire time and they were controlling it. That's why Rodri ends up getting the golden ball. And Pedri is another great player who plays for Barcelona. He's on the bench. So, like, when your team is that good and you're able to sit a player like that and still be in control of games, I'm not really surprised. To many people, I'm not sure if you've heard about it, the final was really that semifinal between France and Spain, that the team that was going to win that one was going to win the tournament. It didn't matter if England came out on the other side. Mentally, they're on a different level. Talent-wise, they're on a different level. And you're right, Argentina, if Enzo Fernandez wasn't stupid towards the end of regulation there and getting that red card, imagine they were on even strength towards stoppage time in the second half of extra time. They could have had a chance. And to your point, you were right. That's the only time that they did anything. It was one of the worst performances I've ever seen in a final anywhere. And it probably was the worst World Cup final performance. But that's also how good Spain is, on top of how much Messi dragged Argentina to this final. And how they were squeaking on by with a lot of results. It's not like they were doing anything in terms of dominating each knockout stage. They were squeaking by in the 80th, 85th minute, especially against England as well as in Atlanta. That was all the Messi show. And again, when you're age 39, you can't press, you can't run like you used to, and they're making mental mistakes and errors where Argentina's a very physical side. We saw the bad side of them come out in this one, where they're getting yellow cards, double yellow for Enzo Fernandez. Paredes gets a red card after they're fighting Spanish players after the final whistle. This was everything about Spain. And by the way, like, Spain should have won this like 4-0 in regulation. Like, their finishing was poor. That was really the only reason why I thought that they could have lost. this tournament was because they don't have those killers in front of goal. But ultimately, it didn't end up mattering because they create so much, and they ended up scoring there with Fernan Torres. And honestly, that foul with Mikel Merino, where Nico Williams scored that first goal, I thought that was very soft. That rarely gets called a foul inside the area. So realistically, it could have been 4-0, 5-0. Argentina are lucky to have this look 1-0 on the scoreline, but that's that for Messi.
What would you say is next for United States soccer? They had a good showing. I don't know if you could call it a great showing in the World Cup. I think they did what was expected, but once they got to where they played a team that I thought either had equal amount of talent to them or maybe a little bit better than them, we saw they got handled. Belgium could have beat them probably 6-1 in that game. Where do you think the United States soccer is as we head into the next 4 years of waiting until we get to Morocco?
I guess it depends what happens with Mauricio Pochettino. I think he adopted the best style possible, where we hear everybody that watches every 2 or 4 years say, well, if we had our best athletes in here, we would be great. We already have great athletes on this team. We're actually one of the more athletic and dynamic teams in the world. We just don't have as great of skill. Pochettino said, okay, let's press high. Let's try and dominate physically. And they did that for multiple matches. They scored 11 goals. That was a record for them. Pochettino's already the all-time wins leader at the World Cup for the men's side. Not a great thing, but he still did it. There were mental errors and mistakes where Tim Ream and Matt Freezes of the world, and Pulisic did not play great either. I'm not going to try and allow him to get away with this, but a lot of players played terrible on that one, where they were actually all preventable goals, to be quite honest with you. Their basic man marking, lack of clearances, like the third goal right there, where Matt Freeze concedes, right? If anything, you're only down 1 goal at that point prior to that, where you give yourself an opportunity, maybe squeak on by, get a corner kick or two, and try and score on that point. At that rate, when Belgium gets that third goal, they're just able to sit back and allow Team USA to kind of try and create, but they couldn't do anything. They were outmatched completely in the midfield. It really ended up catching up to them in terms of talent at that level. It was a really good tournament until that moment, where the star player gets injured and people think he's soft. He has a really poor performance, and it just leaves this bitter taste in your mouth after they had a roaring start in the group stage, beat quality sides. Like Paraguay ends up knocking out Germany. That's a quality win for Team USA. Paraguay was good in qualifiers, obviously losing to Turkey in stoppage time. They end up getting that win against Bosnia down a man for like 30-plus minutes. These were good results. These were good wins. It was just overshadowed by the fact that they look like deers in the headlight in the biggest game in 24 years for Team USA. So it was definitely very bitter, and against a side like Belgium that knocked them out in 2014, it just sucked. It does. And the direction that they move forward, I don't know. They have to have a really good showing in Copa America if they participate in that in 2028. They need to show up for that one. Pulisic hopefully rebounds and has a good tournament there. There needs to be a lot more development and talent. You can't have 38-year-olds like Tim Ream, no disrespect to him, he had a fine career, playing still. Like, you need more talent there. If you're still relying on guys like that in 2026, you're in a bad way for the future. We'll see what names sort of pop up over the next 4 years, but there's a lot of work to do.
That is Martino Puccio joining us on the show today, talking World Cup. Martino, man, thanks a lot for popping on today.
Hey, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. That's Martino Puccio joining us on the show today. Coming up at the top of the hour, let's talk football. We talk football. Let's get to the American football. We do that next. Keep it right here on You Better You Bet.
Welcome back to You Better You Bet, presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports.
Welcome into the show. My name is Carrington Harrison. Very happy to be here with you, filling in for my guy Nick Kostos on You Better You Bet. Let's head to the phone lines right now to be joined by Eric with Yahoo Sports covering football. Eric, how you doing, my man?
Good to hear your voice. What's going on?
Doing good, man. Happy to be talking a little bit of football with you. As we head into the offseason, what do you see as the biggest story?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting to see how the AFC is going to shape up this year. Obviously, last year was kind of a disappointing season, I think, in terms of the heavyweight performers in that side of the equation. Obviously, the Chiefs underperformed, the Ravens did, the Bills were given what appeared to be a golden opportunity to kind of steal this thing and make a Super Bowl for the first time in this era, the first time in the Josh Allen era. Didn't happen. The Patriots, I don't know if you'd say they sneaked in, but they certainly weren't the preseason favorites and had some holes that were exposed. So I guess what is the shape of the AFC? You know, Mahomes coming back from injury, people questioning Lamar Jackson's greatness, all these things. I think it's going to be a little bit of a bounce back season, but, you know, there's still some unanswered questions about the true heavyweights on that side of the equation, I would say.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. I mean, I would say right now the potential biggest question for me is whether or not Patrick Mahomes is going to be there. And I just think Kansas City is heading to this as such a major uncertainty. You know, they won 6 games last year. I still don't know if there's a team that's really emerged in the AFC as kind of being that team. You would think in theory that it's the Broncos. I think they maybe have the best roster, but I don't think they're far and away better than everybody. I've got my questions about New England. We'll see about Buffalo. We'll see about Baltimore. I feel like the AFC is up for grabs in a way that it just hasn't been over the last 20 years or so because the Patriots dominated for so long.
I agree. And I think, you know, you're right to question. I mean, obviously the Patriots had a schedule that was extremely favorable last year, and not to say that they couldn't, you know, navigate a tougher slate this year, but, you know, more pressure on Drake May after a tough Super Bowl, you know. Certainly Denver with all the close games that they sort of pulled out of their hats, if you will. I think that's going to, you know, can they sustain that kind of clutch play, that fourth quarter dominance, if you will? Yeah, I think those are fair questions for teams that you know did well last year. Both obviously had an equal chance to get to the Super Bowl. Both ultimately disappointing in the biggest moments, but yeah, you're right. It does feel like it's up for grabs, and Mahomes' health is obviously going to be one of the sort of the key determinants of the Chiefs season, but there are other factors too. You know, can Rashee Rice put everything behind him and become the star receiver they need? Do they have enough firepower? You know, is everything else going to be working in order, and can they send, you know, Travis Kelce off in style? So yeah, I think they still have the bones of a great team, but last year obviously didn't add up.
Right now, we're talking to Eric Edholm here for a couple of more minutes, just taking a closer look at the NFL. Do you see the Broncos as the favorite heading into the AFC West? Because if you look at the sort of Vegas odds, I mean, they think Kansas City's still the favorite. They have the Chargers actually as second, and then Broncos are in third at like plus 230 when it comes to the division. I'm surprised that Vegas sees it that way heading into the season.
I am too, especially, you know, the Chargers always feel like one of those teams. Now, maybe it's like they get some sort of summer glow up or something like that, but I always feel like they're one of the teams that people always have perennial doubts about until they kind of withstand the season a little bit. Obviously, Jim Harbaugh's been able to get them to the playoffs, hasn't had success in the postseason, but, you know, Justin Herbert faces similar questions. Is he truly in that upper tier of quarterbacks, or to his sort of playoff games mar that record a little bit too. So, it's not just about the Chiefs and Broncos, but also I'm kind of fascinated to hear that there is a little bit of sentiment in favor of the Chargers, and given the questions of their offensive line, even with guys coming back from injury. So, yeah, I mean, I think it certainly reflects well on the Broncos. Everyone assumes, look, Bo Nix, third year coming around with, good guidance from Sean Payton, one of the best quarterback mentors out there, one of the best offensive designers. They go out and get Jalen Waddle. Didn't make a lot of big moves this offseason otherwise, but that appears to be an upgrade, even if it's a receiver who's got a similar profile to some of the guys they already have.
Right now, we're talking to Eric Edholm. He does fantastic work with Yahoo Sports, getting you ready for the start of the football season. All right, let's talk big picture here. Give me a team that you think is currently a little bit overrated and overvalued heading into the season. Give me a team that you think is a little bit underrated and underappreciated heading into this season.
Yeah, it's hard to say that the Jacksonville Jaguars are overrated, given that they entered last season with a ton of questions and answered a lot of them, right? I mean, I think, we have to tip our caps at what they were able to do. And, to a certain degree, they were way above their skis last year. But, I do wonder whether that's sustainable. I do think that the win total was a little inflated last year, and they might be one of those teams that comes back down to earth a little bit. Maybe a little bit more competition within the division yet to be determined. We'll see. But as far as a team that I think could be undersold right now, how about the New Orleans Saints? I feel like that division amongst all of them is probably the most up for grabs. You could make a case for Tampa. You could make a case for Carolina, but I don't know that either one of them are so strong that you feel really good about it. And the way New Orleans played at the end of last year, granted the 1-8 start or whatever it was, certainly gave us an idea of where they were starting from. But I felt like Tyler Shuck really kind of turned the corner a little bit and could be in line for a big statistical season. Jordan Tyson they draft, Chris Olave they bring back, and Kamara they kept in the fold along with Travis Etienne. And, defensively, I think they were pretty darn good down the stretch, added a few pieces, but most of the focus seemed to be on offense, just buttressing the whole thing around their second-year quarterback. So, they're a team that I think could surprise some people and kind of pull an 11-win season out of thin air, seemingly. So, again, like the Jaguars did last year, I wouldn't be shocked if New Orleans ends up beefing up their win total by a significant amount and possibly stealing that division.
I hear you when it comes to the New Orleans Saints. I'm a little fearful because I've fallen for that ploy at least 5 of the last 6 years, especially in that division. You always talk yourself into, whether it's Atlanta or Carolina, this division isn't as good. Somebody's got to beat Tampa Bay. Maybe I think it's them. I'm fearful of buying back into the New Orleans Saints.
Fair enough. And look, you mentioned Atlanta. That's the one team I didn't really mention. I mean, they're the kind of club that I think everybody who watched them last year, they had this dominant game against the Bills early in the season. They were 3-2. It felt like they were kind of working their way towards something interesting. All of a sudden, they're entering December at 4-9, and people say, what happened? Right? Is this all on Raheem? Is there something else going on here? Obviously, got to figure out the quarterback situation. Two lefties going at it with Tua and Penix there. But, you've got a coach, a two-time coach of the year coming in and possibly cleaning up some stuff offensively. I think defensively, as long as Pierce is, in the lineup for the most of the season, I think they're going to have some more firepower there. So maybe they're the candidates. I mean, maybe they're the kind of team that could surprise people, given the Bijan factor, the Kyle Pitts factor, Drake London coming back. I mean, that's a pretty good tempo to start with right there.
Right now, we're talking to Eric Edholm. He does fantastic work for Yahoo Sports, just going through some of the top stories in the NFL. I feel like we talked a lot about the AFC. Why don't we move over to the NFC just a little bit? Who do you see as the biggest contender to the Los Angeles Rams? Do you think it's Seattle, given the fact they won the Super Bowl last year? Do you think it's somebody else to throw in the mix?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard not to start with those two teams. And I understand, maybe public sentiment has shifted a little towards the Rams, but we do have to mention, the Seahawks were the champs last year. I think they felt they were in such a strong position, even with cap space. They didn't need to go hell's bells to try to keep everybody in the fold. They knew what they had. They felt like the depth was there. You know, they add Jadarian Price in round one. It feels like he's going to be an immediate contributor to their offense too. And, you know, if that defense is anywhere close to where it was last year, you cannot dismiss them whatsoever. I think Sam Darnold obviously answered a lot of questions about his career. But, again, hard not to overlook what the Rams have done. And maybe there's an added little cherry on top if Aaron Donald pops out of retirement. It's still yet to be determined, of course. But what a story that would be, and what a shock that would be, I think, if he were joining that defensive line with Myles Garrett and, you know, what they added in the secondary, the two Chiefs defensive backs, so I think could make a big difference. And, you know, the assumption is it's all going to come together and work great. And I think by the end of the season, they'll find their defensive formula, so to speak. But, you know, you're still counting on Matthew Stafford being healthy for 17 games and beyond, and still counting on Puka Nacua being in a good headspace entering the season in an off season that, you know, the storyline's been forgotten a little bit, but, you know, he's going through some things in rehab. And so, you know, where is he entering the year two? And, you know, it's just going to be fascinating to see how that division shakes up. The Niners aren't going anywhere. You know, certainly the NFC North has its share of contenders. You could make a case for the Lions, the Bears. The Packers aren't that bad a club at all. And, you know, other contenders around the conference as well. So, yeah, the NFC West is pretty darn loaded. And I do feel like Seahawks and Rams have to be, if not 1 and 2, certainly in your top 3. But, you know, I don't necessarily know that division's going to dominate quite the way it did last year.
I was just going to ask you if you think Aaron Donald's going to come back and play this season, because I think all the tea leaves are just kind of they're all blowing in that direction. I do think closer to the end of August, maybe he gets there midway through training camp. I do think Aaron Donald's going to play this year. I feel like if he wasn't going to play, he would have put water on that fire weeks ago.
I agree. He would have shut that thing down, right? I mean, Aaron's not a subtle guy, right? I mean, if you just leave me alone, I'm in retirement, I'm having a good time. But, you know, when people started reaching out to him in June and stuff, and, you know, even after the draft, I think, or after the Myles Garrett trade was probably the one that prompted the most reaction. Like, once that became official and went through, everybody said, maybe he really is interested. And you're right, he didn't shoot him down. So I know that, you know, Sean McVay's been a little coy with the whole thing, and, you know, other Rams players have kind of done the winks and the nods and all that. But, yeah, I mean, it does feel like there's at least a strong possibility he's been getting himself into shape. Now, we'll see a couple weeks from now and beyond. But you're right. I think he'll wait a little while before he officially announces anything.
Eric, what quarterback situation are you following the most?
Yeah, I mean, the Browns are, I guess, interesting just because, you know, it's the situation where, you know, we wrote off Deshaun Watson so much and to the point where it never felt like he was going to ever start for this team again, but he could. And Shadur Sanders is the other option there. I mean, assuming Dylan Gabriel is not their first or second choice, that's what you're given right now. And, you know, obviously what happens at that position is going to have a huge impact on what they do in the draft in 2027, expected to be a stronger than normal quarterback class. We'll see. You never know. But as things lay out right now, it feels like it could be a draft where a lot of teams find their future starters. But Atlanta can't be forgotten, too. We kind of mentioned it briefly earlier, but, you know, obviously Michael Penix was in that great quarterback class a couple years ago, and to this point, injuries and inconsistency have kind of held his career back. He's a little on the older side. Coming off the injury, how much does he impact this race, or this battle, I should say, and how physically ready is he to take on Tua Tagovailoa, who's got 4,000-yard passing seasons and, you know, has his own issues, but has a little bit more experience at this point. So those two sort of stand out. Now, obviously, you know, Arizona is kind of in its own category too, and that's one we'll watch. But the first two feel like there's a little more impact there.
Yeah, I'm really intrigued, honestly. I'm intrigued by Minnesota. Now, I fully expect Kyler Murray to win the job. I think that he's going to be the starting quarterback for them. But, I mean, you did spend a first-round pick on J.J. McCarthy. I do think you'll give him some level of opportunity. What does Kyler Murray do in this newest situation? I mean, we saw what that offense did for Sam Darnold. Could it do the same thing for Kyler Murray? And nobody's ever questioned the talent with him. It's always been a question of some of the other things. You go in the right system, in the right offense, I could see Kyler Murray having a lot better season than people think.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the J.J. McCarthy story is over by any means. I mean, obviously it's been a tough start to his career, missing his old rookie season, right when it felt like he was coming on in training camp that year. Last year didn't go according to plan. Obviously, you go and get Murray, who's got a no-trade clause, and even for the minimum salary, the idea is that, look, there's a greater chance than not that he becomes the starter. And I think, obviously, Kevin O'Connell, if you look back a couple of years, what he did with far lesser talents, you can easily extrapolate the idea that, man, this could be a career-defining year for Kyler. And maybe they sneak up on the other three teams in the NFC North, and maybe they're far better than we expected. But that defense is going to carry him for a lot of the season. They have a true number one receiver, arguably the best in the game, in Justin Jefferson. So, yeah, I mean, Murray, is the magic still there? Can he create that magic? Is he going to have the flexibility to do so within that offense? I think so. But, again, we're sort of on the backside now, and there are enough doubts built up about both guys that, I feel like most observers are going to look at them as the fourth team in that division, a strong fourth team, but the team that has the most to kind of prove. And maybe that ends up fueling one of those guys. And Murray, I would say, is the favorite.
I'll get you out of here with these last two questions. The first one is, in the last 7 seasons, a team that picked in the top 5 turned around the next season and made the postseason. Who's your really bad team from last year that you think can turn it around and make the postseason? I think a lot of people are going to take the New York Giants for a lot of different reasons. I kind of think Tennessee, that division is always so weird. You put Brian Daboll, you put him with Cam Ward. I could just see them being a sneaky 9-win team. We look up and we think, how did they win that many games? Who's your bad team surprise that could turn around and make the postseason?
Yeah, I think you're on the right track there. I think the two obvious ones, or the most likely ones, would be Giants and Titans. If you're just talking about teams that picked in the top 5, with the Titans, obviously, if they can get those receivers together and kind of get Cam Ward playing some good football, it was a struggle last year. Obviously, the number of sacks he took, and just the lack of explosive, consistent plays that they were able to generate offensively. And there were a lot of issues there that were not tied to Cam. Obviously, that I think that they need to sort out for sure. How good is the defense? A couple of years ago, looked like it was in great shape. Took a step back last year, undoubtedly. The Giants face questions too, right? I mean, obviously they have the potential to break out there. Jackson Dart showed some intriguing skills as well. I think those are the two teams that really make the most sense. The Giants, I think, are going to have to do it more with their defense, but the Titans still have some firepower if they can kind of unlock this offense a little bit. I'm not giving up on Cam Ward. I mean, he's got the kind of style. It's almost like Kyler Murray, different player, but I mean in the sense that you have to be willing to live through some growing pains a little bit and have him work through some of those bad plays before he finds success. And he's risen the ranks almost like no quarterback we've seen in recent years. So it's been fun to see his progression, and I think he'll have a say on this season and play a lot better football.
Eric, I'll get you out here with this last thing. You went back to Yahoo Sports. Tell people a little bit about the move and what you have working on as we head into the football season.
My third stint there, it's hard to believe. Yeah, my 4 years in the NFL were absolutely great. I had an opportunity to return, but the chance to go back to Yahoo was really something I couldn't turn down. There are great people working there. I'm excited about getting into draft coverage a little earlier. I typically waited to maybe December, January when I was with the league, and just to be able to follow the prospects as we go throughout the course of the season. Because as you know, Carrington, I mean, it changes so much, and our perception of these prospects and how the draft lays out. And it really is a 9-12-month process, and I love seeing it from start to finish. So very excited about that.
That is my guy, Eric Edholm, joining us on the show today, getting you ready for the football season. Eric, it's always great talking to you. And remember, M-I-Z.
Z-O-U, baby.
Absolutely. That's Eric Edholm joining us on the show today, talking a little football, getting you ready for the NFL season. Coming up, we'll talk about what has been one of the top stories in the United States. We'll get to it next. Keep it right here on You Better You Bet.
Welcome back to You Better You Bet, presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports.
Welcome back into the show. We'll get to very serious sports things to close things out today, but you know what? I want to take a little bit of a detour and a little bit of a break to talk about a story that has absolutely rocked this nation. Now, I want to tell you a story really quickly before we play this. So I was with the little one, and we were at the grocery store. You know, I've been really trying to be a lot more diligent about what I eat. I've been trying to avoid the fast food. So when in doubt, I just try to go to the grocery store, get something quick, take it back to the crib, eat it, and I just got a better control over what I'm putting in my body, you know? So while we were there, I was like, hey, you know what? Why don't we go to the grocery store and you can pick out some candy? He said, okay, sure. So we're there and we're going through the aisle, and usually he gets a Starburst. This time he didn't get the Starburst. He wanted the Nerd Gummies. Cool, no problem with me. Go ahead and get the Nerd Gummies. In the middle of it, he says, can I call my mom? And I was like, why? I was a little confused. Like, not because I'm trying to discourage her. I just didn't understand why I needed to call her. He's like, I just want to know if I can have this. And I said, it's okay. You're allowed to have it. He said, no, I need to make sure I can eat it. And I didn't know what he meant. So I was like, all right, cool. So boop, 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 FaceTime his mom. And he's like, Mom, is it okay if I eat this? Because it's a berry, and you told me that berries and lettuce are getting people sick. She started laughing. She was like, yeah, you can have some candy. Just make sure you eat it after dinner. And I was like, that's what I said. Y'all got these kids terrified about whatever this stuff is. I don't even know the name of what's going on right now, but I know that you got people terrified. And sadly enough, what has become the face of whatever sickness, whatever bug, whatever thing is going around, sadly, the face of this have been the good, fine people over at Taco Bell who ain't never done nothing to nobody. Taco Bell has held us all down at various points in our lives. Maybe you were out having a great time with your friends, laughing, giggling, just having a fantastic evening. You got a little bit hungry and you realized that you needed a place to go. McDonald's wasn't there for you in that moment. Wendy's wasn't there for you in that moment. Wendy's closed it at 9 o'clock. Was Hardee's there for you? No. Your favorite Chinese food place? Absolutely not. You want to know who was there for you? Where you could eat great even late? It was Taco Bell. With a cheap, affordable meal to get you through the rest of your fun evening. And we are going to turn our back on Taco Bell? Not on my watch. We're spreading some vicious rumors that may be difficult for Taco Bell to overcome. I want to play this news story for you guys because it saddens me what we're doing to an American staple restaurant. Listen to this.
A new report that says health officials are investigating Taco Bell as a potential part of the cyclospora parasitic outbreak, sickening thousands of people across the U.S. The Washington Post cites two anonymous sources close to the investigation. Taco Bell has removed several items from its menu in some areas as a precaution. Michigan's health department has pointed to lettuce or other salad greens as a potential source of the outbreak there and says some people infected with the parasite did not eat at Taco Bell.
I'll never forgive you guys for trying to put this smut on Taco Bell's name. When anybody who was eating Taco Bell already knew that you were taking a roll of dice with your life. You knew that. Those 3 burritos cost you 79 cents. You knew some shenanigans had to be going on. You thought everything was on the up and up. When these 4 tacos cost you $1.50? Come on now. You knew something was a little bit off. You knew something was a little bit shady, but you didn't question it. You just ate your chalupa. You just ate your Mexican pizza. And you went on about your day. But no. You guys have decided to throw smut, throw dirt on the unsullied name of Taco Bell. And I won't let that happen. Not while they got me filling in for Nick Kostos. I will not participate in this. Taco Bell is an American staple. It is an American pillar stone. It is an American foundational restaurant that we will not let be disrespected. We will not let you disrespect the cinnamon twist or the Baja Blast or some of the great menu items that they have introduced over the course of time because you guys want to sully a good man's name. I want to go around the room here really quickly, and then we'll move on from this, because this is the difference. When I go to McDonald's, and I don't go a whole lot, again, I'm really trying to eat different. I don't go to McDonald's a lot. When I go to McDonald's, I get the same couple of things. I'm not really at the exploring the McDonald's menu option. No. I don't go in there and I'm just like, you know what? Today I want to try. No, I'm going in there for a very specific purpose. Please give me 2 McDoubles, no onions. Please give me the fries and give me a large Sprite. Thank you. That's all I need. I don't need nothing else. I can't remember the last time I got a Quarter Pounder or a Big Mac or some of these other things that you people are ordering. That's great that you're ordering that. I'm just not doing that. I like my one thing. That's all I need. Thank you. That's it. At Chick-fil-A, I might go regular sandwich. I might go to strips. I might go to nuggets. That's it, depending on how I'm feeling. I'm not going too far off the beaten path. At Taco Bell, sometimes it's a dealer's choice. What am I feeling? I might get a chalupa. I might get a double-decker taco. I might get 3 regular crunchy tacos. I might get the Doritos Locos tacos. I might get the Nacho Bel Grande. I might get a Crunch Wrap Supreme. Who knows how I'm feeling when I get up there? That's the beauty of it. And you guys are trying to sully the good name of a good man who has never done anything to anybody. I want to go around the room here. Laura, I want you to be ready. I want you to participate this too, because I know Taco Bell has played an important part in your life too.
It has.
Of course it has. It's phenomenal.
It's got me through some rough nights. It's got me.
You know what I like hearing? I like hearing that right there. It's gotten you through some rough times. Hey, we here. We just left the club. Hey, we had a good time. It's 2:00. You look at Amanda. Amanda's like, I'm hungry. You're thinking I'm hungry. Where are we going to go to eat? You know who held you down in that moment? Taco Bell.
Two spicy potato soft tacos. That's what did it.
Every time. Laura, I knew there was a reason I liked you. I knew it. This moment right here, I feel like that moment in Step Brothers. Did we just become best friends? Yup. Because who doesn't love Taco Bell? Tyler, what's your favorite thing on the Taco Bell menu?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. This isn't stopping me. I'm still going to Taco Bell. Every time I go to Taco Bell, I get the same thing. You got to play the hits in some of these fast food restaurants. So I usually get the chicken quesadilla, soft taco, maybe get a Crunch Wrap Supreme. I've been to Taco Bell since this news came out, and I'll probably go again. This is not stopping me.
All right. Well, I got to tell you right now, and we having a little fun here. Taco Bell might have to be in timeout for a little bit. We might got to take a break. We got to see other people. I'm not saying I'm not going back to Taco Bell. I'm not saying that. But right now, when the streets are a little questionable outside, I don't know if I can do it right now. I mean, you already know that you rolling the dice with your life when you go into Taco Bell. You already know. You take one bite of that chalupa, your stomach doing the Mary Lou Retton. You don't want that. You don't want your stomach to be doing the Simone Biles. You don't want that. That's already a possibility on a regular day. Now you telling me that the block is hot? No, I can't participate in that. Not right now. It's got to have a timeout. I love Chipotle, but when they were selling those bacteria bowls for those couple of months, I couldn't do it. I had to stay away. It took me a while to come back, and I came back hesitant. I came back real hesitant, but at some point it was calling me. It really was. It was calling me. Kenny, what's your favorite thing on Taco Bell's menu?
The crew might not like me for this one, but I've never really been a big Taco Bell guy.
Kenny, you and I will be having some great days. We will. And then something will happen at some point throughout the course of the day. You know what? Our relationship is like the World Cup. It got off to a beautiful start. The World Cup was fantastic. And then I'm sitting there and I'm watching a 1-0 game. I don't know what's happening. You're not a Taco Bell guy? What was your fast food of choice? Like late night, let's say it's like 11:30 at night. What was your late night fast food place?
11:30 at night is tough because there's not much open. I guess I would say Wendy's or McDonald's over Taco Bell for me. I mean, ultimately, I'm more of like a Chick-fil-A, Chipotle type of guy. I mean, call it bougie, but like those are my go-tos. I'm definitely not. Taco Bell would be towards like the 20th option for me.
Oh, wow. He called He called Taco Bell the Chad Pennington of the fast food restaurant game. That's terrible. That's the Michael Penix of the fast food game. There's one more food thing I would like to play for you guys. So this was a real bang-up idea by Olive Garden that I want to see more places adopt this idea. Can you guys play the Olive Garden clip?
The return of all-you-can-eat deals.
More restaurants are getting in on the craze, led by some long-awaited news for Olive Garden fans in particular. NBC's business correspondent Brian Chung is here with the details. Hey, Brian.
Hey, good morning. Or as they say in Italy, buongiorno. They stated at the Olive Garden as well. That is where, after a 6-year hiatus, the chain is bringing back a social media favorite. That's the never-ending pasta pass. Wow. And it's not just Olive Garden. Other restaurants are jumping in on the all-you-can-eat train, too, as consumers look for ways to stretch their dollars.
I love this idea. I want more places to adopt this idea. Can you imagine if Buffalo Wild Wings did a deal where for the next 91 days, if you go in there, you're guaranteed to get 12 wings? How much would you pay for that? Because they're charging they're charging $100. And for the next 91 days, when you go to Olive Garden, your tab is taken care of. What a deal. I'm going in there every day. I'm getting all the shrimp Alfredo, the shrimp fettuccine, the chicken I'm getting it all. I'm trying everything that Olive Garden has to offer. Now, you might got to bring your own seasonings, but I'm trying everything that they got to offer over there at Olive Garden. You know how much I would pay for a Chipotle pass? If Chipotle did something like this, hey, for the next 91 days, whenever you come in here, your bowl or your tacos are on us. I wouldn't eat at any other place. I wouldn't eat anything. I don't care if it was Thanksgiving. Mom, no, I'm not eating your food. You know what I'm getting? I'm getting that barbacoa bowl from Chipotle. The next 91 days, I don't know who had this idea. But you guys remember back in the day, they used to have those Real Men of Genius commercials about people who just had great, fantastic ideas. The person that had this idea for this $100 Olive Garden pass, they should get the Congressional Medal of Honor. Right now, they should get the Medal of Honor. They should get the Nobel Peace Prize. This is what we need. We need more of these kind of innovative ideas. We need more. You get a pass and you get unlimited appetizers anytime you go to Applebee's. I'd be watching random baseball games in there. I'd be in there when they first open up watching the news. I'd be the first one in there. There's not even baseball games on. I'm just in there with the waiters and the waitresses, and we're watching the noon news on Channel 5. That's what I'd be doing if they had these kind of moves. I don't know who we need to talk to, but I'm telling you that we need more companies to have this kind of innovation. We need more companies to have this kind of vision like they have over at Olive Garden. All right, coming up on the other side, we'll update you on everything that happened over the weekend. We'll get you ready for the weekend sports as we are all waiting to see what's going to happen with LeBron James. That's coming up. Keep it right here on You Better You Bet.
Welcome back to You Better You Bet, presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports.
Welcome back into the show. We're going to play Shams Charania here coming up in a bit, but let me tell you guys that today, BetMGM players, you will receive an Any Sport Parlay Boost token. To use the Parlay Boost token, add a parlay wager to your bet slip and activate the token. If you win your wager that was made with the token, you'll receive those extra winnings. So download the BetMGM app today, and remember to please gamble responsibly. My name is Carrington Harrison. Very happy to be here, filling in for my guy Nick Kostos on You Bet or You Bet. So let's update you guys on everything that is currently happening right now in the association. We are all waiting to see what is going to happen with LeBron James. Reports are coming in that LeBron is closing in on officially announcing his decision, and that the decision could arrive within the next 24 hours. I feel that it has really come down to either the Sixers, the Cavs, or the Heat. I think the Warriors were a very nice idea. It was a fun idea, but I do not think that LeBron is going to go join the Golden State Warriors. I think he's either going to join Cleveland or I think he is going to join the Miami Heat. I think there is a small potential chance that he could join the Philadelphia 76ers. But at this point, I don't think any of us know. Shams told this to ESPN a couple of days ago. He said nobody knows where LeBron is going to go. Here's Shams.
I don't know if I'm holding my breath for an announcement this week, but I think as we get into next week, I do think this process is getting closer and closer to the end here. LeBron James has all the information that he needs to make a decision. All the GMs, the owners, the presidents, they've all made their pitch through Rich Paul, his agent. They've even sent, Pat, interestingly enough, LeBron has had multiple different owners and GMs, about three to five, that have sent voice memos to him via Rich Paul. So they'll send it to Rich Paul, and then he'll send it to LeBron James. And so we're looking at a group of teams, the Cavs, the Heat, the Warriors, the Sixers, and the Timberwolves. But my feel, when I talk to teams around the league, when I really dig a little bit more on this situation, the focus is really on the top contending teams for this being the Cavaliers, the Heat, and the 76ers.
So right now, if you look at the odds for the next team that LeBron is going to suit up for, right now Miami is plus 105. The Cavs are at plus 170. Golden State is at plus 500. Philadelphia is at plus 700. And then everybody else completely falls off of a cliff on where LeBron could potentially land. I'd be surprised if LeBron doesn't go to Cleveland or Miami. I just think it makes too much sense for LeBron to ultimately land in one of those places. I think in the end, that's where he's going to go. I think LeBron is going to end up going to one of those two teams in one of those two situations, and we'll find out where he can potentially land. I do think at some point he'll announce it this week, because what I think will happen is I think LeBron and his media team are pretty savvy about this. Man, football's about to start here really, really quickly, and NFL training camp conversations are going to start here very, very quickly. So you have a little bit of room, you have a little bit of a window to be able to announce it and kind of be able to dominate the headlines for a bit. I mean, every NFL team is going to be in camp by next Tuesday. Every team, all 32 teams. The first preseason game is August 6th. So we're 2 Thursdays from now until we get to the first game of the NFL season unofficially. So this window of you thinking that you're going to drag this out and continue to dominate the news cycle and continue to dominate coverage, yeah, I mean, that's going to kind of be the case. I mean, we're kind of in those dog days now. The World Cup kind of got us through for 4 or 5 weeks. It dominated sports conversations. The World Cup is now over. If your baseball team is out of it, you were just sitting around twiddling your thumbs doing a house project until we get football going here in a month or so. I think LeBron and his team knows that. You can steal the headlines for a little bit longer, but inevitably the news cycle just moves on. And it's not going to be any more about what you're deciding. You can decide and then we'll talk about it, but this back and forth, where's LeBron going to go? He's just not a good enough player, I think, to dominate this news cycle for maybe as long as he is trying to dominate the news cycle. So that's one thing that I wanted to play for you guys before we get out of here. I want to tell you guys a real quick story. This is going to be the story that there's two stories that I remember from the World Cup. The first story I'm going to remember is I went to a game. I went to Austria and Algeria. And I'll never forget, I looked to my right, and the person I was sitting next to had a drum. A drum. Not like a chicken drum. I mean a percussion instrument drum, like he was Travis Barker. And I remember thinking to myself, you're telling me I couldn't bring a non-clear bag in here, but you could bring a drum in here? It just didn't make any sense to me. I was very confused on how that could be the case. I'll never forget that, sitting next to a man that had a drum. The next thing I won't forget is I went to a watch party. I went to a Croatia. They were playing Portugal watch party. There's a big Croatian community where I live, and they throw a big party whenever their team plays. And I wanted to see it for myself. And I went there, and let me tell you, these people could not have been any nicer to me than they were. I mean, I was drinking Croatian beer with these people. They were giving me homemade Croatian meals. We were singing songs. It was great. We were taking pictures. It was a really, really good, really fun time. Well, Croatia lost this game. They lost to Portugal. Portugal has Cristiano Ronaldo. And I remember walking out of there, and this woman, she is hot. She is mad that they lost. And she's like, man, of course FIFA would do this. FIFA wants to see Cristiano Ronaldo advance. They would never let us advance. Like, she was going off about this. She kind of calmed down a little bit, and I looked at her, and I said, I'm guessing this is the same thing that teams say about Patrick Mahomes during the season, and they complain like this for the Chiefs. And it kind of got quiet for a minute. I didn't know if she was going to yell at me or how she was going to respond. She started laughing, and she said, you know what? You're probably right. And we kind of had a little moment. We were going back and forth about FIFA and things that people say. You know what? It was a very unifying experience. The reason I'm telling you this is I realize that we are all the same. It doesn't matter what team you cheer for. It doesn't matter if you're black, white. It doesn't matter if you're Christian, Catholic, Muslim. It doesn't matter if you lived in the city. It doesn't matter if you lived in the rural parts. It does not matter. One thing we all think is that it is somewhat imbalanced against our favorite team. And when our favorite team loses, it devastates us to no end. Now, I've never listened to England sports talk radio until this exact moment in my life. But when you hear the passion and the frustration, you can't tell me this doesn't sound like Stephen A. Smith. You can't tell me this doesn't sound like Christopher Mad Dog Russo when he goes on one of those legendary rants. Listen to English sports talk after they got eliminated from the World Cup.
You can almost accept it.
I know.
You're playing against Argentina. Yeah. You can't sit off for 25 minutes against Argentina. He absolutely bottled it. Thomas Tuchel's cost us the World Cup. He cost us the World Cup. We're 1-0 up. Played well first half. All right, cagey affair. We go 1-0 up. Be brave. Be brave, Thomas. This is what we brought you in for. We brought you in for this moment. We got rid of Southgate because he bottled it, because he weren't brave. We brought you in for now to make that decision. We're 1-0 up in a World Cup semi-final. Bring on Rashford. Bring on Saka. And if they score, they score. But at least we're going to go down fighting. At least we're going to go down with some pride. We fell out of the World Cup in disgrace because of him. Because of him. And we brought him in for this job. This is what we brought him in for, to get us over this line. And it's the same old England, same old crap. I can't believe it, Jace.
Well, no.
Jace, I can't believe it.
No,
it's a disgrace.
He
should be sacked.
If there is one thing that we all can identify with, I don't care if you cheer for the New England Patriots, the Montreal Canadiens, the Chicago Cubs. Your team has had a loss that has absolutely devastated you. And at some point afterwards, you were absolutely ready to fire your team's head coach. Your coach could have won 3 national championships. He's a bum. Get him out of here. We've all felt those emotions before. What the World Cup taught me is we're really not that different. You know what? They like Popeyes too because it's amazing. They like Waffle House too. You want to know why? Because it's incredible, that's why. That's what the message of the World Cup is. The news and the media will make you think that we're so much different, that we're on opposite sides. Sure, maybe about some things, but for the most part, we all have common experiences, you know? Who didn't love going to Pizza Hut as a kid? We all loved it. You know somebody that doesn't love the Ninja Turtles? Of course not, because they're incredible. Your kid now, they love the Ninja Turtles if you showed it to them. But if there's one thing that we can all identify with, it's at some point your team has absolutely pissed you off to the point that you felt like that man. He should be sacked. That's what he said. He said he should be sacked. I got to start saying that. I'm going to start saying that. He should be sacked. I had a lot of fun filling in today. Take care. I'll catch you guys next time you listen to You Better You Bet.
This is Westwood One Sports.